Hey everybody, this is Jeff Newton coming at you from the writer's cabin. Thanks for joining us. Whew. Today I wanted to talk to you about Tom Homan. You know, I want to get you past that image you have of this sweaty old fat balding guy who's Trump's White House border czar. It's a great name, right? Border czar. He's the guy who replaced Greg Bonvino, that little Nazi guy who always used to wear the long Nazi jackets, who was terrorizing all the people in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and around the state of Minnesota. They sent him packing a few days ago, to his dismay, and now he's off in California or something like that, working on border issues. And he's still the same guy, but he's gone now. And Tom Homan came in, the border czar, to take up where he left off. And Tom Homan said Thursday the Trump administration needs to do a better job of its messaging over immigration and customs enforcement across the country. Quote, "I think we're being egged on by the press," Homan told Laura Ingraham on the Ingraham Angle on Fox News. Always go to the most reputable people when you're trying to deliver a message on messaging. Quote, "I think there's a lot of false media out there, and I think we need to be better at messaging what we're doing out there." End quote. Then he went on to say, the bottom line, quote, 70% of everybody arrested is a criminal. We need to start advertising that every single day and putting pictures all over social media. I agree, Tom. We do. We need to put it all over social media. It's a great idea. Let's put a database together of all the people you arrest and the crimes they're charged with or convicted of. All those violent criminals. But don't cherry pick. No cherry picking, okay? All the people you detain in a day. All of them. It's not a privacy issue, right? Because those kind of things, criminals, when they're arrested and charged with crimes, there's no privacy anymore. You could just start releasing that stuff. Put it on a database for all of us to see. Make it a part of the public record. Heck, the White House shows you that stuff all the time at their press conference. Remember Trump up there with the pictures, just flipping through the picture. No details in the pictures. Just pictures of bad-looking people. Just throwing them on the ground, right? That's what he was doing at his press conference a couple days ago. So let's get past that. Let's really develop this database. It's a great idea. Of all these criminals that you arrest in Minneapolis, put every one of them up there, including the ones that you're not even sure if they're criminals or not. Let's just start, because you said 70% of them are all criminals. So let's see if all those people you're dragging out of cars on the way to their hospital visits and taking their kids to school, people who are working at the food banks and some of those people working in the restaurants, living in urban middle-class neighborhoods. Let's see if they're all criminals, 70% of them. Let's put that database together. Let the media be your friend here. If you put it together and release it, and then, of course, we cross-reference it with people you didn't add on the list because we watched them getting arrested and we know their names, then we'll know if you're telling the truth. And you shouldn't worry about that because, if you're telling the truth, your database will be accurate. So let the media be your friend. They're all up there looking at you anyways. Quote, "The bottom line is if people listen to most of the media, this network, they're going to hear that ICE is separating families every day. We're deporting U.S. citizens, children. We're doing operations in elementary schools, and churches, and hospitals." That's what you said. Here's the thing. You are. There's video of it everywhere, Tom. We literally have watched your agents do exactly this on fucking television. Eyewitnesses videotaping you with those things they call iPhones. Little background on Tom Homan, okay? He's not just a Trump guy. He was in the Obama administration. Very important role in ICE. And in fact, Obama put a medal around his neck, for all the great work he was doing, deporting people. In 2014, under the Obama administration, Homan began to argue that separating children from their caregivers would be an effective way to discourage illegal border crossings. This is in 2014. This is 12 years ago. The Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Caitlin Dickerson has called Homan the intellectual father of this policy, which he outlined years before the Trump administration adopted it. Most parents don't want to be separated, Homan told Dickerson. So you're saying you're not doing that now, even though you came up with this policy 12 years ago? You suddenly decided it's not really what you're doing? You're not telling your agents to do that? Like you're bringing kids out of their house and holding guns to their heads? There's video of that, Tom. So the children could come out because they don't like being separated from their parents. It sounds very much like the policy you had in 2014. Then he argued that this makes separation an effective tool for immigration enforcement. Quote, I'd be lying to you if I didn't think that had an effect. It's in the Atlantic. Further, he went on to say, the Trump administration, quote, needs to push back the lies because I think a lot of people don't get their facts, and we've got to do better of getting the facts out there. All right, Tom, I agree with that. I'm big on facts. Here's a fact. You personally were being investigated for taking a $50,000 bribe, and the DOJ dropped it. You remember that? Not too long ago. It's when your boss came to office. They dropped the charges. They dropped the investigation. And you still have not said under oath, have you, that you didn't take the money? Your AG friend Pam Bondi and your other little buddy over FBI, Kash Patel, seem to have lost the tape that was incriminating, that would set this whole thing straight. It's weird, right? The tape's gone. Somewhere, where'd it go? They're just not letting us hear it. I mean, if it would clear you, because there was not enough evidence to prosecute you, right? That's what they said. If it would clear you, why can't we hear it? Because here you are up there talking about why we should trust you, that you're doing the right thing, that you're not doing all these things, and you're calling us, the media, and the protesters, liars. Let's listen to your tape. Let's listen to that tape about your $50,000 bag of money. They have it. We know they have it. Let's put it out in front of Congress and then sit you down in front of an oath, take an oath, and say you didn't take that money. Love to hear you do that. That would square everything away with us. We would know Tom's the trustworthy guy now. And we could listen to you when you go in to take softening things up for the Trump administration after you got rid of Bovino. Because that's all we want is somebody that's trustworthy, right? That's what you said. You're the one with the credibility problem, bro. You're the one with the credibility problem. When the liars tell us that the media is lying all the time, only the MAGA people are believing at this point, Tom. Only the MAGA people. You're preaching to a choir of folks who have the inability to determine truth and fact from lies. If you think what I'm saying about you is defamatory, you should file a lawsuit. Then we could go to discovery. You know that thing where they have to get everybody together and figure out who's telling the truth with what evidence? Because right now you're just doing everything without evidence. And you're accusing a lot of people of a lot of shit. There's no evidence to back it up. But when you come to court, file a lawsuit against me for defamation. I would love it. So that we can subpoena those FBI agents who are working on that sting. And they can tell us what they thought about what you were doing that day. And we'll see if I defamed you. It's kind of like Trump. Remember when AP in 2016 said his wife came here and worked illegally on her tourist visa? The Trump that sues everybody for getting things wrong when they don't get them wrong, but he sues them anyways. He didn't sue them, did he? He didn't sue them. Wonder why. Wonder why you're not going to sue me. When you sue me, we will have discovery. Audio and videotapes of the event. Tax returns to see if you filed that 50 grand. If it never was given back to somebody, you better pay taxes on it. That's tax evasion if you didn't. Officers from the FBI sting operation could testify. I mean, because we're all liars, right? Except you. And Stephen Miller. And Pam Bondi, who dropped the charges. And Kash Patel. Those guys that say there's no evidence against you that could prosecute. There's a tape, though. We'd all love to hear it. I was watching you on Laura Ingram's Fox News the other day. You spoke at length about the media spreading lies. It was weird. She called you Tom. She didn't call you by a title. She didn't call you Mr. Homan. Nothing like that. Did you always only talk to people who, in the media, who are so comfortable with you they don't even refer to you by your own title? I thought that was weird. It's because you like going to places where you can go unchallenged. And you can say whatever you want because you know they're not going to push back. Because A, they're not that bright at Fox. Fox News. It's not a news organization, by the way. They can't push back. They don't want to push back. They want to believe everything you say. You know? Why didn't you go on 60 Minutes when they did the CCOT piece? You remember how everybody wanted to have somebody from the administration talk about the CCOT piece in El Salvador that Sharon Alfonsi did? And Barry Weiss over at CBS, the new editor-in-chief, she bought you another month for you or Stephen Miller or somebody from the Trump administration. Maybe it might have been Kristi Noem, right? She was down there taking pictures. Or you. You are the border czar. Throwing people out of the country, it's your job. Why wouldn't you go on 60 Minutes and talk about that? The CCOT prison. Seems to me you only like to talk to people you know are not going to kick your ass. Maybe you were worried that they were going to ask you where that 50 grand is, if you took it or not. And that would become evidence later. This past weekend, organizers reported an estimated 50 to 100,000 demonstrators marched through downtown Minneapolis, leading a massive, packed protest, stalling traffic in the streets, despite temperatures at the time that were negative 11 Fahrenheit. So here's another question for you, Tom, because this is the language you're using all the time. Do you believe at all in the fucking U.S. Constitution? You're calling all these people domestic terrorists. You're calling them agitators. How about that First Amendment? Tom, do you not believe that people walking 50,000, 100,000 strong, carrying signs, you consider them agitators? You don't consider that peaceful protesters? That's weird. Here's another little thing. Printed this out. You guys see this? That's Tom Homan on Laura Ingram's show. Here's what he said. We're going to create a database. Those people who are interfering. Oh, here's the database I was talking about. You're going to create a database to help us square us away on the news, right? On who you're arresting, everything. We're going to make them famous and put their face on TV. Oh, shit, you're not talking about the criminals. You're talking about American protesters. Let's start over, because I didn't understand that at first. We're going to create a database. Those people that are interfering. We're going to make them famous and put their face on TV. We're going to let their employers and their neighborhoods and their schools know who these people are. So now you're talking about creating a government-sponsored intimidation list, database, to intimidate Americans. That whole thing about Congress making no law, that harms our ability to have free speech, free press, and free religion, and to peacefully assemble, which guarantee that's what you saw this weekend, 100,000 people peacefully assembling. And most of the time you see peaceful assembly when they're watching your guys commit crimes, right? Dragging people out of their houses without judicial warrants because your justice lawyers fell in line and made that okay. But it's not okay. You know it's not okay. It's against the Fourth Amendment. They're violating the fucking law. You have to have a judicial warrant, Tom. And you fucking people know it. And when it goes to the court, they're going to say it. Maybe when it gets to the Supreme Court, it gets overturned. That's what seems to be happening. It seems like the only people that seem to be smarter on the Supreme Court, right? Because all the lower courts are kicking your ass. When it gets to that 6-3 conservative majority, they seem to rule in your favor a lot. That's weird. So that's the game you're playing. Ignore the lower courts. Let it get to the Supreme Court. Let John Roberts and Clarence, Yes Man Thomas, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, let them all just torch the Constitution. Because everybody is an agitator. I guess the reason Trump called you the border czar, because he loves those kind of terms, right? Makes you seem like, but border czar, it's kind of a Putin-esque type name, isn't it? It's a Russian word, czar. It's got a very Putin ring to it. Border czar. Tom Homan, border czar. You look kind of like a big Russian bear, don't you? With sweat and everything and all that flab hanging around your body. Border czar. It sounds like repression, doesn't it? It does to me. It sounds like repression. It sounds like communism. In fact, Russian czar, well, it means emperor, dictator, monarch. Some people equate it to the term king. So, keep up the good work, comrade. Stalin would be proud of your work. We're not. You're just a part of the criminal process that is making up the Trump administration. You and everybody there. Kristi Noem, criminal. You, criminal. Bovino, criminal. Pam Bondi, she'll have her day in court after she leaves office. Trust me. Kash Patel, criminal. Donald Trump, convicted criminal. So, misfits. Find somebody who's a subscriber. Tell them to get a paid subscription. We'll keep kicking their ass because they're liars. Thank you for showing up tonight from the Writer's Cabin on Substack, Facebook, and YouTube, and other platforms. Have a good night, guys.